Hi, welcome to the Healthy Skin Show. I'm Dr. Jennifer Rullan, a board certified dermatologist here in San Diego and Coronado. And I have my special guest here, Brett Davis, who's going to be leading our show tonight. Welcome, Brett.
Well, I appreciate you having me on your show. I'm excited. We put out the information about your show, and we got some really good questions that people want to ask.
Wonderful. Let's see. What do they have to
And they didn't
ask?
have enough courage to put their names. So the first question is: so you're a dermatologist. How long did it take you to get to be a dermatologist, and was it a hard journey?
It's a great question. I think it's important nowadays, especially with TikTok and all these influencers. We're getting a lot of health information and from people that might not be the best source. So I think it's good to know, what they go through to get where they're at. And so a board certified dermatologist, basically, we go to school for about 12 years after high school, 4 years of college, 4 years of medical school, and then 4 years of our specialty training. And it's very competitive. A lot of people don't know that in medical school, the most competitive specialty is actually dermatology.
Hmm,
So, and all the doctors are competing for a few spots to be a dermatologist.
that's
So,
very interesting. And what's the difference between you and an MD versus, let's say, a nurse who claims to be a dermatologist or a
uh,
PA who does dermatology?
yeah, great question as well. So, after high school, dermatologists, we go to school for 8 more years. Sorry, after college, we go to school 8 more years, whereas a PA and a nurse practitioner, for example, they go to school for 2 more years. So, about 6 more years of schooling. And if you look at the hours, most derms are doing about 16 hours, 16,000 hours with patient care versus a nurse practitioner is only doing 500 hours with the patient in primary care before they can be on their own. And a PA does about 2,000 hours before they can be on their own. So we have about 16,000 hours of patient training and care. And then we also have board certification and tests, whereas nobody else has that. So big difference.
There's a lot more, because everybody just typically goes into an office, a doctors or a dermatologist, and they don't really think about all the hours and time and sacrifice. But so, where do dermatologists stand on the belief of getting vitamin D from the sun?
That's a good question.
As I sit here looking really red as I'm talking to you.
Well, I see it all the time on Instagram. Everybody's like, "Go outside, get your vitamin D," it's, everybody a lot of health professionals actually will tell their patients, "Go outside and get vitamin D." And dermatologists, we actually feel we don't agree with that. Why would I risk you getting a deadly skin cancer so you can get some vitamin D? It doesn't really make sense to us, Why would you don't, you know, smoke a cigarette so you can take away your anxiety, right? They don't tell you that. So why would we say go outside and get vitamin D? But it is good to be outside. It is good to live your life, be out in nature. It's just how to do it safely. I think that's where there's a lot of misunderstanding. So if you wear sunscreen every day and you go outside for 10 minutes with sunscreen on, you get enough vitamin D through your sunscreen with just 10 minutes.
Okay.
So now there's been studies showing that, like, I went to school in Puerto Rico, and we tested all these women, probably like 100 women, on their vitamin D levels, and we found that they were very low, and they were getting tons of sun. We're in the Caribbean, right next to the equator, and so we do know that if you're darker skin type, you need to get more sun exposure to get vitamin D, and if you're lighter skin type, you just need about 10 minutes. But even then, people aren't getting this vitamin D through their skin that they think they're getting. So through diet, a lot of people don't know that, like, it takes like liver codfish or salmon, um, beef liver, egg yolk. Those all are full of vitamin D, but we'd have to eat a lot every day to meet that level. So basically, our recommendation in general is take supplements of vitamin D3, go outside with your sunscreen on and a hat and protection, but don't just lay out to get vitamin D.
Is there a difference between the vitamin D, the way the body utilizes it, being food based, and also getting it from the sun?
Great question. They both they do get processed differently because one has to go through the skin and have, like, a reaction and change, versus in the stomach, it's gotta go through the stomach, get absorbed, but food vitamin D is better, ideally, you wanna get it through your diet,
Okay.
it's just our diets are so different these days, we don't know if the chicken's yolk is enough vitamin D in the chicken anymore, right? We used to get for example, vitamin B12 you get from dirt, and the cows would be eating the food in the dirt. But nowadays, everything's so clean, we're not getting enough B12 from our food like we naturally would. So it's hard to predict with diet that you're getting enough vitamin D through your diet.
You sound more like a nutritionist than a doctor. Has anybody ever told you that?
I incorporate everything, spiritual,
Really?
nutrition,
Spiritual.
everything.
So,
Everything is connected.
so explain to me how spiritual uh, comes into the words of dermatology.
Ooh, that's good. Well, if you're really sad, depressed, anxious, your hair falls off, your your skin starts getting itchy, you get rashes, you get autoimmune diseases. I mean, everything is connected. So a lot of times I have to coach patients and just go take a walk on the beach and really, or go pray or do something. You need to let go of your burdens and your anxiety to get your skin better.
Do you practice meditation or yoga yourself, or what do you do to get yourself in that spiritual state? Because I'm sure you have a lot of challenges on a daily basis.
I personally do, yes. Yeah, through prayer, meditation, yeah, or long walks, outside. It's very good for me.
Does it require a lot of time, do you think, to really make an impact, or what are your
I
thoughts?
think everybody's different. I think some ladies need a good hour to really decompress, and sometimes you just need 5 minutes in your car with silence. I think it's person dependent, situation dependent. Yeah, good question.
It's very hard for people nowadays to be in silence when there's so many challenges around us, from the cell phone to to just sound in general. There's not really a We have to really work at finding quiet, don't we?
It's harder now than ever,
I think
even
so too.
for myself. Mhm.
I bet. So if 10 minutes outside with sunscreen on is enough to get all the vitamin D we need, why are there so many people deficient in vitamin D?
I think it's well, I kind of mentioned your skin color matters. I think our diet is so processed. We're not getting enough in through our diet. And then I think just maybe we stay indoors longer than we think, and we're not like as active as we think we are. I don't think we're taking those walks outside like we probably should. Um, and there's probably something, I think it's mostly diet, honestly. I think our food's just so processed, we're not getting the vitamin D like we used to. Because like I said, people in Puerto Rico, they get lots of sun, we're still found to be deficient. So it's more than just the sun that why most of us are vitamin D deficient. And we need vitamin D. It prevents osteoporosis, it prevents cancers. There's like 20 conditions that are associated with vitamin D deficiency.
Well, I didn't know that. So it's really important to wear sunscreen every
Yes.
day, every day.
Yes, of course. The dermatologist is going to agree with you there. Sunscreen is well. There's a study showing that if you wear sunscreen every day, your incidence of squamous cell carcinoma goes down by 40%,
40%.
and your incidence of melanoma, which is a deadly type of skin cancer, goes down 50%. And there's no evidence showing that if you don't wear sunscreen, you prevent cancer. So of course, if you wear sunscreen, you're going to have a higher chance of not having it.
I'm afraid to even tell her what my past was like in the days when I'd run around the beach with baby oil and no hats, and like I just did recently. But it's crazy because your father, who's probably one of the greatest dermatologists that everybody talks about, and of course your name always comes up as well, um, probably have seen so many different varieties of situations that people have no idea of the impact that not having the sunscreen or a hat makes in someone's life.
Mhm. We see it all the
I
time.
bet you do.
Yeah.
I bet
All
you have
every
different
day.
stories.
I've never heard someone say, "I wish I didn't wear sunscreen." I've never heard that. And everybody says every day, "I wish I would have protected myself. I wish I would have known. I wish someone would have taught me more. I wish." When we're cutting off noses and ears and, half of their arm and half their cheek, everybody says, "I wish, I wish, I wish," but nobody ever says, "I wish I would have not wore sunscreen." I've never heard that before. So,
So basically, what's going on, I think, is there's not, and I think this is great that you're doing this podcast. There's not enough education about the dangers? I mean, we hear a little bit about it, but it seems like it's still under the radar a little bit, isn't it?
It is, it is, and even I mean, I tell my friends and they still are out baking. So
Really?
I think it's cultural, it's, live in the moment. People just don't really can't imagine that it'll happen to them, so I think that there's a little bit of denial. I think people wanna just be out in this it's a lot of work to not get sunburned. I was telling you earlier, it's a lot it's effort. Just like, having relationships, it takes a lot of intention to keep a relationship healthy. I think to prevent a sunburn, it takes a lot of intention, a lot of work. It's it doesn't naturally happen to not get sunburned. You have to
You have to really work at it.
really work at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's one takeaway right off the bat is for anybody that's listening, don't underestimate the sun. And like Dr. Rullan just said, she's never heard anybody ever say they wish they had not worn sunscreen.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the way you said it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wish I would have, yeah, not worn sunscreen. No
Okay.
one's ever said that.
So I heard that there are dangerous chemicals. This is another question from a new perspective person that's going to watch your show. I heard that there are dangerous chemicals in sunscreen. So are we putting ourselves at risk of other cancers to prevent skin cancers?
Yeah, this was in the New York Times and, all over the news because they found that in a lot of the common, sunscreens that we all use, like Neutrogena and, a lot of the big brands, they found this chemical called benzene in all of it, all the bottles, which is a carcinogen. It's very dangerous for you, and if you put it on your entire body, it's getting absorbed. So there's evidence showing that there is absorption systemically of these chemicals, and so, a lot of people now just don't wanna wear sunscreen, which kind of is very dangerous. We're seeing this, we're gonna see the consequences of this in probably 30 years, but I think there's just misinformation out there. So a lot of the chemical sunscreens, so there's 2 types of sunscreens on the market, chemical and physical. Chemical means the skin has to absorb the sun, have a chemical reaction, and then reject the sunlight, the UV radiation. Versus a physical sunscreen is like zinc, titanium. You put it on and it's like a shield. The sun just bounces off your skin. So the chemical sunscreens, which we never really were supportive of, 13 years ago, we stopped recommending them. But recently they discovered these chemicals are still in the sunscreens, byproducts of the chemical sunscreen ingredients. And so we've always not recommended chemical sunscreens, but physical sunscreen. So when you look for a sunscreen, you want to look for mineral based, basically.
Okay.
That's the basic terms. And then also, if you can wear a rash guard, a hat, something to protect you, it's better. So you're not putting so much cream on your entire body. Even lotion, when you put lotion head to toe, you're going to get absorption. So there's a lot of chemicals we're doing all the time that we're not aware of. So anything on your skin, head to toe, you're going to get absorption. So the goal is to limit the areas of sunscreen that needed, like, arms, face, areas that are exposed.
So after the damage has been done, this is another question. Mrs. Smith, I think is what her name is. After damage has been done for so many years, is it possible under good care and with technology that you can somehow reverse some of that?
Oh, good question. So yes and no. So there's 3 types of skin cancers: squamous cell, basal cell, and melanoma. For basal cell and squamous cell, we do have some treatments that we use to reverse some of the mutations that are already done. And for example, we apply, I call it the bake and marinate and bake medicine treatment. It's called photodynamic therapy. We put a medicine on, it goes into your DNA, it finds mutations, it locks in the DNA. We activate it under light, and then your body is forced to clean up the mutations in the DNA. So a lot of patients do this a couple times a year to get rid of the precancers and all the mutations and sun damage. But for melanoma, it's different. There's no treatment out there that can reverse sun damage for melanoma. And melanoma is the scariest of all the skin cancers. So unfortunately, what's done is done, and we just have to keep a close eye on the moles. And if a mole changes, the faster you catch it, the better your prognosis.
How many times typically a year do you suggest clients that have had sun damage visit with you?
I would say with the board certified derm, at least once a year is good. If your skin is flawless and you have nothing, I'll tell you 2 years. But if there's a lot of sun damage, I'm usually seeing people at least twice a year.
Okay, so 2 or 3 years. Three is too much.
3 years, unless you
Or
have
no, I'm meaning
nothing.
3 times in a
Oh,
year.
3 times a year is great. Yeah, if you have a lot of
Really?
sun damage, yeah. But we'll tell you if we see a lot of things, then we'll see you sooner. If you have a lot of brown spots, you should be seen a few times a year.
That's me. I need to go see you.
I don't think so. You look pretty good from here.
I don't know about that. A lot of spots have come up since I've seen you last. Why do older people get skin cancer even though they hardly go to the beach or get sun?
Another good question. So, from the day you're born to the day you die, you're accumulating sun damage. So, going to the beach today, you're going to pay the price of your sins 20, 30 years from now. You're not going to pay for it now. So, it's mutations that are being absorbed in your DNA, and it starts from the day you're born. So, think of it as a cup, and with time, your cup just gets more and more full, more and more full. And usually, after like age 50, 60, the cup is pretty full. And so, then now, any kind of extra sun exposure, just things start popping out pretty quick. So basically, they're seeing stuff now because before the age of 24, most of their sun damage happened.
It sounds very karmic.
Karma, yes.
What else can we do beyond wearing sunscreen to prevent the skin cancer?
Well, I love wide brimmed hats, which you love hats too, Brett. I'm surprised you don't have a hat on right now. And
Sarah wanted me to wear a hat.
You should. I mean,
She said
just
that way.
Make it trendy. Don't make it, about skin cancer. Make it about fashion. And
She said that way I wouldn't glare you with my bald head.
especially for men, I think men wear baseball caps, and we're always cutting chunks out of the ears. So I feel like if they would just get a wide brimmed hat. Problem is, a lot of men don't like the style of the wide brimmed hat, so it is a cultural thing. So if you're like a cowboy, it's easy. Got a nice wide brimmed hat, it's easy. But if you're not a cowboy, you have to like think about what your style is. And for ladies, wide brimmed hat is ideal. When I go swimming, my husband and my kid, we all have rash guards on. There's a pill you can take. I love the pill HelioCare. You can buy it on Amazon. It's over the counter. It basically is from a fern plant called Polypodium leucotomus. And they discovered that in South America, people who ate this fern plant didn't age, didn't get cancers. They looked really young. And we dermatologists found out about that. We did all these clinical trials. We gave it to kids that were allergic to the sun, and they could play outside without getting sunburned. They wouldn't have the allergies anymore. And then we did more clinical trials and realized, oh, you don't get as many cancers. Oh, you don't age. Oh, you don't get brown spots. So we have over 100 clinical trials, really good studies, scientific, case-controlled studies showing that it's safe and it's great for. So when I go to the beach, for example, I'll take a couple pills before I go out. A lot of my surfer patients, my athletes, my melanoma patients, they're all taking the pill.
Okay, it's good to know. I've never even heard of it.
HelioCare. You can buy it on Amazon. Yeah.
Hopefully, they're giving you a percentage of sales.
No percentage here, no, but
okay.
They should.
No, they should because you're promoting it. It sounds like it must be very high in antioxidants.
The Polypodium leucotomus plant boosts your antioxidant. Yeah, your ability to fight. Yeah, it's a potent antioxidant for the skin. And so if you're not going outside, you don't take it. It's only effective when you're going to be out in sunlight.
So what are your thoughts on glutathione?
I love glutathione. I use it for patients who have brown spots like melasma and like the pregnancy mask that you get. A lot of in the Philippines, it's very popular. People get glutathione infusions.
Really?
Almost all my products that we sell have glutathione in it. It's more to brighten the skin. It's mostly for lightening the skin. It's not really like the benefits for skin are just limited to that.
Okay. And you mentioned earlier nutrition is a very big impact. How you eat, what you eat. Is it possible to do like an 80-20 thing where 80% is good and maybe 20% is challenged, where you get to have that Hershey bar once in a while?
80-20 is good. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Is it good?
Yeah. That's like one cheat day a week, more or less. I think that's pretty good.
Well, you got this down, don't you? What's your take on red wine with no sulfates?
With no sulfites? Well, I love red wine in creams. It's in all of our products
Really?
too. It's called resveratrol.
Yeah.
Yeah, resveratrol is a really great antioxidant. Helps prevent skin cancers and aging, and almost all my products carry it. But I think drinking it. I mean, I don't know. That was Jesus' first miracle was making wine. So I know wine isn't horrible.
right?
I love wine. It's just,
Maybe it's moderation.
of course, everything's moderation.
What's
Yes.
your take? It's interesting talking to you about all this because there's so many good things, and you're so sharp on all this. I mean, I've thrown you some curveballs, and you've hit them back pretty good. What's your take on the Mediterranean way of eating?
That's the best.
Really?
Hands down. For almost all skin diseases, I tell them to eat Mediterranean diet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, I'm not that far off. Then
Yeah.
I do know a little bit. I guess I'm okay so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah. Fish and, greens and olive oil, not heated up, just like, room temp olive oil is so good for you.
Virgin olive oil,
Yeah. Virgin,
right?
extra virgin. Yeah.
And you get again. How many times you said should people get their skin checked?
I would say once a year is good to start. And if the doctor says, let's see you more often, then we'll tell you, but at least once a year.
Okay. So tell us about some of these products because a couple of the things we mentioned nutritionally are in your products, which is fascinating.
So I just wanted to show you a couple sunscreens because I think people just don't know what sunscreens to buy. And I mentioned that you want to get mineral sunscreen. Another thing, if you have brown spots on your face, you want to make sure your sunscreen is tinted. The tint in sunscreen is iron oxide, which is not labeled on the bottle as an active ingredient, but it protects you from visible light. So this computer screen or the screen in front of us, outdoors visible light. We're getting just 1 hour outside. You got enough visible light to make all your brown spots darker. And so the only way to protect yourself from visible light is tint. So tinted sunscreens are really good for especially the ladies or people who struggle with brown spots. Over the counter, they just launched, for example, I'll show you guys close up. Maybe we can zoom in there. This is an example by Eucerin. Again, Eucerin's not promoting this. They should. But it says here, Eucerin Sensitive Mineral Face Zinc Oxide Protection Tinted Sunscreen Lotion. So it's tinted. So instead of being that white, greasy stuff that we're all used to with zinc, it's just looks like nothing. It's like brown. And it blends in really nice. So zinc and tinted is awesome. I like that brand. For kids, I love like a zinc stick.
Oh,
Because my son runs away, so I just like rub it on him while he's running, and I don't get it into his eye. So this is like just pure zinc. There's no chemicals in here, and this is by Neutrogena Mineral Ultra Sheer. So sheer just means zinc is white and greasy. No one likes it, so you want to like look for the good stuff. If you don't love your sunscreen, you're not going to wear it. So
true.
if you're not sure, you don't like anything, just go to your dermatologist office. We all carry, like 50 sunscreens. We could find the perfect match for you. You got to date a few to find your perfect match. I love this company. Europe, when you guys are going to Europe, by the way, that's where you want to buy your sunscreens. They have much better ingredients than we do. But
Really?
here's a company called Isden. Let me see if I can. There we go. Isden Ageless. It's this new brand. This is what I wear. My dad wears. And goes on great, and it's like water.
It's like
You want to try some?
yeah.
Here. It feels like water. But why I like this one? This one has two ingredients, has two enzymes that are actually fixing your DNA at the same time as
Wow.
protecting. Yeah,
This is nice.
it's like nothing.
You can't even, and it's not oily or greasy. It just look at that.
So it's just I think people don't wear sunscreens because they haven't found the right one. Once you find the right one, and then if you like, for example, this one's fixing my DNA and it's protecting me from active sun, and it has all the antioxidants in there. So if sun does get through, which we know no sun is 100%, no sunscreen's 100%. So all sunscreens are imperfect, and so we're getting some sun through it, but then it finds the vitamins to like fight off the antioxidants to fight off the mutations. And then another big thing I tell people is when you're out in the sun, no one's going to reapply a cream again and again and again because you'll get breakouts. It feels gross. So the way to reapply sunscreen outdoors is a powder sunscreen. So zinc comes in pure powder. So you can, I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but it's like this powder. And that's how I reapply it on my face as I'm outside in 2 seconds, and no need to put my greasy face again. So you put it in your purse. It doesn't go bad because if your sunscreen's in your car, the heat actually damages the ingredients of the sunscreen.
There's another question somebody's asking.
Waterproof. Good. So waterproof just means that if you're in the water, it protects you. There's 2 grades of waterproof, either 40 minutes or 80 minutes. There's no sunscreen that's going to get you past 80 minutes. So you still have to reapply. it's just hard to get it off in the shower. A zinc waterproof sunscreen is
Tough.
it's tough. So you have to get some special oils to get it off.
So, the question is, Dale Les says summer and sunscreen. So he's responding to what you're talking about. I guess he's probably agreeing with you on that. Carol Wilson says, good answer about the 10 minutes in the sun to get a vitamin D. Thanks. So people are watching you, and there's probably some that are afraid to say anything, but don't be shy, because we also like to get the questions. I mean, I don't want to just ask questions from, people have emailed stuff. It's nice on the spot. Maybe you come up with a great idea, and hopefully you'll follow more about what Dr. Rullan is talking about as far as, how important skincare is, because it really is not one of those topics that anybody really is talking. I mean, I can tell you, I've been to a lot of events this year, parties, fitness stuff, wine tasting, so on and so forth. I'll be honest, I haven't heard anybody talking about the importance of skincare, and I think it's very important.
I'd say that the young ladies in my age group, that's all we talk about. Sometimes, like every party I go to, what should I do? What do you think? What did So I think it's, but I wish the men would get more, protecting, because a lot of the highest rate of our skin cancers are in our men.
What's the percentage compared to women?
Oh, I don't know that I can't quote you right now.
But it is higher.
Oh yeah, we do Mohs surgery is what we do for skin cancers, and majority are men. Majority of men, yeah, and it's the back of their ears. So a lot of times men forget to put sunscreen on the back of their ears, on their lips, the back of their neck. So many skin cancers here, in the backs. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, you've made me more. Every time I talk to you, I always feel like I need to do better, and it's just hard for people to remember the importance. And like you said, by that time, it's too late sometimes.
Yeah, it's a lot of effort, but that's why I'm here, just to remind you to have some sunscreens and hats and make it fashionable to protect yourself. Yeah.
What's your favorite? Do you have an overall skincare line that you like, or is it just pretty much varied like you just showed us?
It varies. I definitely have my favorites. We do our own line as well that are medical grade. So
Oh, really?
most dermatologists, we have a scientist that make the products for us. So if you're not sure where to start, I recommend you go to your dermatology office and show up, and they'll have really good stuff for you that has research, medical grade ingredients. So instead of over-the-counter ingredients can go to like 2%, but we can go to like 15, 20%. So, and there's science behind it. So if you can, don't go to Sephora, go to your dermatology office and get your skincare there.
That's good advice.
Yeah, it's cheaper too. I think Sephora and all these places, it's a multi-billion-dollar marketing campaign to get you to buy it. And they'll say things that are flashy, and you're like, ooh, it's going to make me look better. And there's no evidence behind that.
One question I don't think we talked about, how important is it to drink water?
Well, if you can go 40 days without eating and be fine, but you can't go past a couple days without drinking water without dying. Your kidneys go in shock. I mean, we need water to live. We need it to live. So I think you're supposed to drink half your weight in ounces is what I've heard. Your urine should be clear. So good luck with that. Yeah.
But it does, but the water has an effect on the skin as well.
Yeah. The more hydrated you are, I mean, everything it starts from the inside though. I mean, if you're dehydrated, your kidneys are the first to be injured. And then if you eat chips, again, here we go, chips.
I think chips get a bad rep. Do we have the website information on there? Oh, there's another question. What's the question? I can't have my glasses on.
SelfTanner, is SelfTanner safe or dangerous? Well, I love SelfTanner because it helps us really pasty white people not feel so insecure when we go out, and when you're not getting sun, or if you've had melanoma and you just really want to feel comfortable, so I think SelfTanner is important. We don't really have good studies showing if you cover head to toe, like the risks. It is a chemical, so there is in theory some risks involved. So I would maybe limit how often you get spray tan. I wouldn't get a full body spray tan every week, but I think if you do, self-tanner on your arms and legs, I think that should be fine. There's been no evidence showing the increased cancer risk with self-tanners. So
a lot of them have a vegetable base, don't they?
I don't don't know. That's a new there's a new vegan self-tanners that
right?
have come out, yeah, but that's also marketing
Okay.
schemes. Yeah, there most all self-tanners are really chemical ingredients, really, but vegan, I don't know. It's a marketing scheme.
So we have the website up there. It is up there, right? I guess the show's done. I mean, pretty much. What a great job for a first show. I'm honored that you had me on. What takeaway or what would you like to leave the audience with to think about?
I would say, your skin is your biggest organ and don't neglect it, for the sake of beauty, and, a tan today is a wrinkle tomorrow.
Ooh.
Yes. Or a brown spot tomorrow.
Or many brown spots.
And, really know who's looking at your skin. Make sure you have a board certified dermatologist look at you at least once or, at once a year, every 2 years. Know who's looking at your skin. Um, we see a lot of sad cases, people just miss it, and they had their skin checked, but not by a dermatologist. So, just have one of us experts just have our eyes on you. Yeah.
You probably get clients from all over the place.
Yeah, from all over Mexico, LA, everywhere. They come in everywhere. Yeah.
Well, I'm honored that I was on your first show. I look forward to being educated, as does the audience, on things they can do to slow down aging and skin cancer and any other information you can give us.
Well, it was a pleasure being here, and I'm so thankful for everyone who listened. I hope you learned something, and thank you, Brett, for hosting today. You did a great job.
Well, thank you. Thank you. That says a lot. If I got kudos from you.